This call is now being recorded.
Okay, so we were reading the lesson 10, A Gift of Love. You all remember?
Yes, sir.
So, can anyone tell me in short which are the points that we have covered? Means, what do you remember? The first page that we have read. Who will tell me? Let me see how many were attentive.
Sir, can I?
Yes, please.
In this story, there is a boy named Hamid. His parents were not there. His father had died only already, and his mother had also died after some time. He was living with his grandmother Amina. Their condition was very poor. It was
Very
the
good.
day
And
when there was the festival of Eid, so Hamid and his friends were telling that we are going to Idgah, and they were going with their parents. So Hamid tell her grandmother, I am going to Idgah, but Amina say, Amina was worried about it that no one is, and I can also not go because I have to cook for him. So she allow her to go to the Idgah alone with his friends, and all children in the way were running, and they under a tree shadow they were waiting the parents to come behind them.
very good. And anything else? Means you already covered most of the things. So, anyone else? See the answer like she gave. I want. Anyone else? At least one student, except for her, because what she said is really good that she remembers each and every detail. Anyone? Okay. So, as she said, this is the story of the boy whose name is Hamid. His parents are no more, but he is just 4 years old. He thinks that his parents will come back, but his grandmother Amina, she knows that they won't come back, and she just uh, she just tells Hamid that they will come back soon, just to keep just to keep him happy. But actually, they are not going to come back, and Hamid lives alone with his grandmother Amina. So it is the festival of Eid. Hamid wants to go to the Eidgah, but how will he go alone? He has no parents, and other children, they are going with their parents. So Amina starts crying when Hamid goes alone to the fair, to the Eidgah with the other friends. So his other friends are with their fathers, but Hamid is alone walking with them. And when they reach the suburbs, there is a lot of crowd, and a lot of people have gathered over there. Some have come on tongas and ekkas, that is the horse-driven vehicles that I had shown you, and others had come in their motor cars. But these village people, they are not at all bothered about this city people, because they make their they just show off with the things that they have, like good clothes, good vehicles. But these village rustics, they are not at all bothered about the poor show that this town people make, and they are very calm and they are very happy with what they have, right? So we will read what happens further in the fair at the Idgah when Hamid reaches there with his friends. Let us read ahead. Is my voice clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This paragraph is little, it is bigger than other paragraphs. Who will read? But I want clear pronunciations.
Sir, I read.
Yes. Who? Tell me the name.
Bashir Andheri.
Okay, Mubashira, you can read it. You can read slowly, no need to hurry up.
For village children, everything in the town is strange. They stand and grab at everything with wonder. Hamid is nearly run over by a car. Finally, the Idgah comes in view.
Are you
The
reading?
boys flock towards the street and toy vendor stores. And then there is the roundabout strung with wooden elephant, horses, and camels. Pay 1 paisa and have 25 rounds of fun. Mahmoud, Mohsin, Noore, and other boys mount the horses and camels. Hamid watch them from a distance. All he wants are 3 paisas. He can't afford to part with a third of his station for a few miserable rounds. They finish with the round tables and line up from the toys. Mahmoud by a policeman in khaki with a red turban on his head and a gun on his shoulder. Mohsin like the water carrel with his back bent under the weight of the water bag. Noore has fallen for the lawyer. Hamid looked at them with a desire to hold each one of them. They cost 2 paisas each. He thinks for a
Your voice
moment.
is breaking up. Can others
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
really?
Yes, sir.
My voice, my voice is clear.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, continue. No problem. Yes. Are you reading?
She is mute.
Who else will read?
Sir, can I?
Yes, please.
For village children, everything in the town is strange. They stand and gape at everything with wonder. Hamid is nearly run over by a car. Finally, the Eidgah comes in a view. The boys flock towards the sweet and toy vendors store. And then there is the roundabout strung with the wooden elephant, horse, and camels. Pay, a, pay and pesa and have a 25 rounds of the Ford Mahmoud Mohsin. Nari and other boys mount the horses and camels. Hamid watches them from a distance. All he has the 3 passes. He can't afford the part with a third of his treasure for a few miserable rounds. They finish with the rundaboots and line up for the toys. Mahmoud buys a police in a kahaki with the red turban on his head and a gun on his shoulder. Mohsen rides the water carrier with his back bent under the weight of the water bag. Nari has fallen from the lawyer. Hamid looks at them with the desire to hold each one of them. They goes 2 paces each. He thinks for a moment if he really wants them. If they drop out of his hand, they might be smashed to bits. If a drop of the water fall on them, the paint will run. There are no off use to him, but still eyes looks at them hungrily, and he wishes he could hold them in his hand for just a moment or two. After the toys came the sweets, sesame seeds, candies, gulab jamuns, and halwa. The snacks their lips with the relish. Only Hamid is left out.
Okay. In between, if my voice breaks up, please let me know because I will be speaking and I will not know. Okay? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
I hope right now it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you know what happened now? For village children, everything in the town is strange. Whatever they see in the town, it is strange for them. Means village children, they like when they go in the town. For them, it is a very good experience. They stand and they gape at everything. Gape means when you look at something with your eyes, with your mouth open, you are surprised. So when village children they go to town, they are very happy, they are excited. So they gape at everything with wonder, with surprise. Hamid is nearly run over by a car. Means he was about to collide, he was about to get hit by a car, but he was just saved. Finally, the Eidgah comes in view. Means finally, Hamid reaches the fair with all others. The boys flock towards the sweet and toy vendor stores. So where did they go first? They went to sweet and the toy vendors, sweet seller and the toy seller. And there is a roundabout strung with wooden elephants, horses, and camels. So you know what is a roundabout, right? Or not? Do you know what it is?
No, sir.
That big wheel in the fair with a ride. Have you know? No. Why no one is answering?
Girls, what's the problem? Girls, are you sleeping better?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Sabik, what's going on asking?
Okay, no problem. I thought my voice was not audible, so.
No, in the morning also the same thing was happening with Mama sir. Nobody was answering.
Hmm. Okay. Okay, no problem. So there was a roundabout, the big wheel, that ride which you see when you go to the fair. You'll see that big wheel, and that is the roundabout. It was strung with wooden elephants. So you know what was? There were wooden elephants and horses and camels, not the real ones, but you can consider that of the toy. The toy elephants, horses, and camels were strung on the roundabouts on all the sides, so that children would like to sit in that roundabout. And
Sir, your voice is cutting.
or what? Okay, let me check. Still or now clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So see the name of these boys: Mahmood, Mohsin, Noore, and other boys. They boys mount the horses and camels. So if you know, in the fair, there are the rides where you see horses and camels, not the real ones, huh, but made of wood, or for that round, they keep that horses and camels. They keep different animals over there on which you can sit and you can have that round. You can have that ride if you know. Have you seen that?
Yes,
On
sir.
which the children sit and they have that ride. So this
Merry-go-round.
Mahmood, yes, Marigo, and this boys, Mahmood, Mohsin, Noore, they all sat on these horses and camels. And Hamid, he watches them from a distance. Hamid does not go over there. All he has is three paisas. He just has that three paisas in his pocket. So he could not afford. It is written over there. He could not part with a third of his treasure for a few miserable rounds. So here he said that means he was feeling that he wanted to go, but he cannot. He cannot use that money that he has because he just had three paisas. If he would use one paisa over here, it would be like using one third of his treasure because all he had is three paisas. If he would use one, then it would be one third because one paisa, that is the one third of three. If you divide three paisa with one third, that is one paisa. So he cannot afford to spend that one paisa. And after that, after finishing the roundabouts, the boys they lined up for toys. They went to the toy vendor, and Mahmood buys that policeman in khaki, not the real one, but the toy policeman wearing that khaki clothes with a turban on his head and the gun on his shoulder. That is what he looked like, that toy policeman. That is what Mahmood buys over there. Mohsin, he buys the water carrier with his bag, with his back bent under the weight of the water bag. So Mahmood, he buys the toy of the water carrier in which you can carry water, like water bag. Noore, he had fallen for the lawyer. Fallen for the lawyer means he bought the toy lawyer, Noore. And Hamid, what does he buy? Nothing. Hamid looks at them with desire to hold each one of them. So Hamid, he wants to just take these toys in his hand just once, but he did not buy them. They cost two paisas each. So each of these toys, which these boys have bought, what was the cost? The price for these was two paisas each. So he could not afford to buy these toys, and nor could he afford to sit in that roundabout. So Hamid looks at them with a desire to hold each one of them. He thinks for a moment if he really wants them. Then he starts thinking, do I really want these toys? Should I buy them? If they dropped out of his hand, they would be smashed to bits. So if by mistake, suppose if he buys one of these toys, and suppose by mistake, if the toys were not handled properly, if they had fallen down, then what would happen? They would be smashed to bits. The toys would break. So, if what happened if the drop of water would fall on them? If suppose the toys, if they were put under water, if suppose the toys get wet, then the paint would run away. They would not look as good as they were. So he has to take a lot of care if he buys these toys. He thinks that it is better not to buy these toys because they might break, they might become dull, the paint would run away if the water falls on them. So that is why he does not buy. They are of no use to him. So he thinks he just consoles himself. He thinks that I should not buy these toys. It is better to save the money which I have. But still, his eyes look at them hungrily, and he wishes he could hold them in his hands for just a moment or two. So he has a very strong desire to buy these toys, but he controls himself anyhow, and he keeps himself away from these toys, and his desire also he has to just ignore. Then mm, he at least he wants these toys to he wants to hold their toys in his hands for just a moment or two. If he cannot buy them, but at least he can hold in his hand for a second. So after the toys, the boys went to the sweet vendor, the sweet shops. What did they buy? Sesame seed candies. What are sesame seed? Do you know? The plant that plant grown for its seeds and oil that is used in cooking. That is sesame. Have you heard about it? Sesame
No,
seed
sir.
candies. Candies, you know. Candies. Candies, I think you should know. Sweet. So that is sesame seed, as I said, sesame that is the plant grown for its seed and oil. It is used in cooking. So here the candies, sesame seed candies are there. Gulab jamus were there. Halwa, all these were the sweets at the sweet vendors shop. And they smacked their lips with relish. Relish means licking. The boys were licking. They smacked their lips. They were enjoying eating these sweets. Only Hamid was left out. Was the one who did not eat, was the one who did not buy anything. He was Hamid. He was left alone in this crowd. He did not buy anything, he did not even buy these sweets. And he was just looking at all these things with a great desire to buy one of these things, but he controls himself anyhow. Though he was just 4 years old, but he manages to control his desires. So with this, we also learn that how important it is to control our desires at times, because sometimes we think that so we should buy this thing. Sometimes we are attracted, we are tempted to buy some things, but we should understand that it is not important to buy each and everything, especially looking at others, because what is good for us we should know. Do you understand, Tiria?
Yes, sir.
Then who will read? Who else will read? Not the same. I want someone else. Madhesa, did she read today?
Sir, I read.
Who?
My mic is
No, I'm asking name because I'm not able to
Mubashira
see.
Deria.
Mm, okay, no problem.
Next to the street vendors, there are a few hardware stores. All the children go ahead, all of them, except Hamid, who stopped to see a piles of tongs. It occurs to him that his granny does not have a pair of tongs. Each time she baked chapatis, the hot iron pan burned her finger. If he were to buy her a pair of tongs, she would never burn her finger. It would be a useful thing to have in the house. Hamid, Hamid asked the shopkeeper how much it is pair of tongues for 6 paise. Hamid had since.
Okay,
Will you give it to me
okay, one
for
minute.
the
So now what happened? Next to the sweet vendors, there are a few hardware stores. Some hardware things are there. Some things which you can take it in your hand, which you can touch. The hardware things are there. See what are they? All the children go ahead, all of them except Hamid. So all the children they went ahead to buy these things. Hamid did not go ahead. He stops to see a pile of tongs. You know what are pile of tongs? Know it or not? Wait, I'll show you. It is used in kitchen. Do you know what it is?
Yes.
What is it?
In Gujarati, it is called chipio.
Yes. When you will see, you will understand. See, pile of tongs, right? Used by the uh, used by the ladies in kitchen, especially. For what is it used? What is the use?
To make chapati.
To make chapati or to turn the side,
To turn the side.
फोल्ड करने के लिए
right? Yes. So some many of them do with their hand hands, but some of them use this different. Those who are habituated, they use their hands. So any one of you, do you know how to turn that chapati with your hands, or do you use this pile of tongs? Have you learnt it or not? That is common thing I'm asking. That you should have
Yes.
learnt.
Yes, sir.
So here, Hamid stops to buy the pile of tongs. He sees that pile of tongs over there. He stops there. It occurs to him that his granny does not have a pair of tongs. So then he thinks that, oh, my grandmother, she does not have this pair of tongs. Each time she bakes chapatis, the hot iron pan burns her fingers. So now, as I said, some people, some ladies, they have that habit. They know how to turn the chapati with their fingers, with their hands. So she burns her hands every day when she bakes chapatis for Hamid. Hamid thinks about her, that iron pan on which the chapati is baked, it burns her fingers because she does not have this pile of tongs. Hamid thinks about his granny. If he were to buy her a pair of tongs, she would never burn her fingers. It would be useful thing to have in the house. So did you understand? 4-year-old boy is thinking about his granny, and he's so mature. He did not spend his treasure of 3 paisas on the roundabout. Not even for the toys, not even for the sweets. He just thought about his granny, that she does not have pile of tongs and she might burn her fingers. She's burning her fingers every day while baking the chapatis. So instead of all these things, I should buy the tongs, means the pair of tongs for her, so that her hands are safe every day. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So so maturely he thought that he should buy this useful thing instead of buying all that things which other boys have bought. But at his age, could anyone think like him? 4 years old. And Hamid asked the shopkeeper how much is the pair of tongs for. So then he asked for the price of this pair of tongs. Then what was the price? 6 paisas. Hamid's heart sinks. So why did his heart sink? Means he felt very sad, very dejected, very disappointed. Why so?
Because he was having only 3 paisa.
What did you say? Because?
Because he was having only 3 paisa.
Because he had only 3 paisas. So now what will he do? Will he be able to buy it? Do you think so? Okay, read it. We will see.
Sir, can I read?
Yes, read.
Will you give it to me for three? Asks Hamid and walks. Let's. The shopkeeper screams at him, but the shopkeeper does not scream. He called Hamid back and gives him the pair of tongs. At first, Hamid's friends laugh at him, but Hamid says his pair of tongs can reduce all their toys to dust. The pair of tongs wins over everyone on its side.
Okay. Today it's connection or like it's I think my internet problem because I might be speaking and the voice
No,
might
your
be
voice
breaking
is
up.
perfectly all right, sir.
Yes, your voice is.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes,
Yes,
sir.
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 So, Hamid, if he felt dejected, he was very disappointed. See, will you give it to me for three? Asks Hamid and walks away, lest the shopkeeper screams at him. Lest means so that. Over here, the word lest you can consider so that. Hamid is asking a question, and he knew that the answer of the question would be a big no. He asked the shopkeeper to give that pair of tongs for three paisas. Almost, not almost, but exactly half of its original price. The shopkeeper screams at him. That is what, no, he thought that the shopkeeper would scream at him. At times when you just do this bargaining with the shopkeeper, when you start moving, then he will call you back, right? So that is what he thought. That he quoted the price for three. He asked the shopkeeper that if he could spare that pair of tongs for three paisas. Then he started walking ahead. But the shopkeeper does not scream. The shopkeeper did not call him back. He calls Hamid back and gives him the pair of tongs. What happened? Did you understand? He
Yes.
called Hamid back and he gave him the pair of tongs. So did he give him for three paisas or free of cost? So let's see what is given. At first, Hamid's friends laugh at him. So probably the shopkeeper might have given him free of cost or he might have given him for three paisas. It is not written over here. We can assume that he had bought the pair of tongs for three
Sir,
paisas.
your voice is cutting.
See, when Hamid buys this pair of tongs for three paisas and he shows this pair of tongs, when he showed this pair of tongs to his friends, they all laughed at him. Why did they laugh? Because according to them, this thing was useless. Hamid says this pair of tongs can reduce all their toys to dust. The pair of tongs wins everyone to its side. According to Hamid, this pair of tongs that he had bought were far more better than the things that these boys have bought. Toys, sweets, and all that things. They were nothing in comparison to this pair of tongs. And this pair of tongs wins over everything else. Because for Hamid, this was the most important thing and it was the very much needed thing in his house. So, who do you think is mature from these boys? Who is the most mature boy over here? The most sensible boy? Hamid, right?
Hamid. Hamid. Hamid.
Because he controlled his desires, he ignored them. At times, he felt very dejected, but finally, he bought something which was very useful, and and that is what we have to see over here. That how uh, how he helped his granny and how he ignored himself, how selfless he was. People these days are selfish, but he was selfless over here, and this was a very selfless act that he did. He did not think about himself, but his granny. So as soon as he reaches home, Amina runs out of the house and kisses him. Amina, that granny, his granny, is really very happy. Why? See, I'm reading. Suddenly, she notices the pair of tongs in his hand. Amina sees that Amina sees the pair of tongs in Hamid's hand. Where did you find these tongs? Amina asked Hamid. From where did you get this? From where did you buy these pair of tongs? I bought them. Hamid says, I bought them. I have paid money. But why? Amina asked. What was the reason? Why did you buy this? Your burnt fingers on the iron pan whenever you make chapatis. You burnt your fingers. So Hamid answered when Amina asked, why did you buy them? Hamid said that I thought you were burning your fingers every day whenever you baked chapatis for me. So that was the reason I did not buy anything else but pair of tongs. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
So then what would be Amina's reaction? The old woman's heart melts and she is deeply moved by Hamid's selflessness. As I said, selflessness, that is opposite of selfishness. You just don't think about yourself and you think about others. You sacrifice for others. That is selflessness. So Hamid sacrificed his happiness for that of his granny. And so the old woman's heart melts. Amina's heart melts. She is she is very emotional at this time. So big tears fall from her eyes and she hugs him as if they were never to be parted for life. So Amina hugs Hamid tightly, like they will never be separated. Even the death won't separate these two. Like that, she hugs him very tightly, and she is very overwhelmed and she feels very touched when Hamid gives this kind of answer. And at this age, this kind of selflessness is a very rare thing to be seen. Okay, any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Remember the name of the author? What is it? Munshi Premchand. He was an Indian writer. We will read more about him later on in the free time. Okay. So bye
Bye, sir.
everyone. Please
Bye,
read the
sir.
lesson once. The PDF has already been sent.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
Sir, please tell them to do their homework. I yesterday called up
In the group.
everybody. Yeah, please, please. Okay.
Yes.
Hmm. They're not at all serious. Only few girls are sending.